My name is Justin Ziolkowski, and you're listening to Random Babbling, Confessions of a Christian Libertarian. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Random Babbling. My name is Justin Ziolkowski, your host, and today we have a very, very special episode. We have a candidate for governor here in the state of California. He's the Libertarian Candidate, and I fully endorse him even before we start this interview, Nickolas Wildstar.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for sliding that in. I appreciate your support, Justin.
Hey, thank you.
Hello, everyone. Nickolas Wildstar, Libertarian Candidate for Governor. Very happy to be here, and I'm pleased to speak with you all. So thank you for having me, Justin. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you, Nickolas. This is this is an honor for me, and I'm glad that you're a willing sport, and I'm very happy and very thankful that you've taken time out of your busy campaign schedule to come and talk to us. And I'm really excited. I've never done this before, so.
Well, of course, yes. Yeah. I'm happy to get involved and speak with those people who want to speak with me, especially those that I'll be representing. So definitely, I appreciate you having me again.
Awesome, appreciate it. And I know that we've had an agenda that we've kind of set out, but I don't want to feel constrained to this at all.
Not at all.
I want you to feel free to ask questions too. I don't want this to be a one-way interrogation if that's what you don't want.
All right.
So the first thing I would like to talk about is just a quick introduction to yourself. Just tell us who is Nickolas Wildstar?
Well, I am a musician. I am a husband. I am a lover of freedom and liberty and everything in between. I moved out to California from Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the age of 17 and have been here ever since, nearly 20 years now. So,
oh, wow.
I moved out here to pursue a career in music. And I am known as the rapper Cue Ball. My first album, The Real, is available for purchase on Amazon. You can also listen to it on Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, etc. And one of my songs from that album ended up in the movie Scary Movie 4.
Oh, wow.
So you got to be sure to check that out also.
Oh, definitely.
And my new album I'm using to promote my aspirations to become a representative of the people. So my new album, Evolve or Die, is available on SoundCloud and on my YouTube channel. You can listen to it, rip it, download it for free, and just be sure to take a listen and see what we can do to become politically charged using the instrument and art of music.
Great. That's awesome. I can't wait to listen to that.
Please do.
Yeah. So, basic question, and I'm pretty sure any candidate will have to answer this question. Why do you want to run for governor? What's your inspiration for doing so?
Well, my inspiration for doing so is more so just seeing the lack of representation in our government. They don't really represent us. And even as a candidate, I'm coming to find that out myself, because in order for me to even have the opportunity to be considered, I have to pay thousands of dollars. And that seems to be just how it is with everything nowadays. Unless you have the money to be spent on licensure or permits or any other type of fees that the government wants to lean on you, then you don't really have a voice. So it's becoming one-sided. It doesn't matter your race, your background, whatever the case may be. It's classism. It's economic warfare. And we see it happening from every scale, from the top to the bottom here in our state. Tons of representatives are continuously exposed for scandals and mismanagement of public funds. And we just need to bring that to an end. And around 2010, I got very involved in community activism through the Occupy Anonymous movement, and had been protesting against abuses of authority by law enforcement, censorship by mainstream media, climate issues, just anything, everything I can get involved with to be a part of that movement for change. And along the way, ended up discovering Dr. Ron Paul through his his campaign for his presidential campaign for 2012, and started hearing about ending the Federal Reserve and, competing currencies and taxation being theft. And this was all just extremely intriguing to me, especially to learn that all of the ways that government tends to operate in this dictatorial manner is completely unconstitutional. And we've gotten so far off kilter that we don't even recognize our country anymore, or even the state of liberty. So that's why I ran for governor in 2014 as an independent candidate, and am running again in 2018 now as a libertarian. I feel like with me having a bigger platform to be able to present the idea of liberty to a larger audience, hopefully it will become more appealing and the people of California will vote libertarian.
Great. And I know you and I spoke via Messenger, and you wanted to talk about the filing fee for running your get on the ballot in
Yes.
this election. So if you can talk a little bit about that.
Absolutely. I'm being charged $4,000 to get onto the ballot.
Well, so much for government for the people, by the people, right? If you got to
exactly,
if you got,
how is that really so? Yeah.
If you got to cough up that kind of coin, it's not like any of us have $5,000 laying around to run for public office.
Exactly, and that's the sad part, is when you're becoming a representative of the public, you would think that would be an opportunity given to the public for free. We shouldn't be charged at all. Right. But yet again, these are the kind of barriers that the government has put in place to protect itself, its special interest groups, the lobbyists that want to keep them empowered to create those policies and regulations that prevents us, we the people, from being able to prosper. So, of course, they're going to rig the elections any way that they can. I mean, even with the top two primary law that just been passed, it prevents any other candidate from being able to compete unless you're part of the favorites club. So it is an obstruction of representation, and it's sad that I'm having to pay so much money in order to get a job. I mean, how many jobs do you have to actually pay for in order to get? Right. But I am, again, being charged this $4,000 filing fee in order to get onto the ballot, and this needs to be paid by March 7th. So far, I have a small chunk of that set off to the side. So at this point, I need about $3,000. So I'm asking everyone to get involved into my campaign. I'm not a rich man. I actually am not working at this time just so I can focus on campaigning full time. So my wife and I, we are pretty much living on one income. And it would be great if I could inspire the people out there in the public to want to support a libertarian and a candidate that wants to bring back the value and principle of liberty to politics.
That's crazy. So, we just talked about Prop 14, and that's the top two system that we now have here in the state of California. And so from how I understand it, it's just the top two candidates regardless of party. So you can have two candidates of the same party run for that office. For example, we had that just back here in 2016 for our Senate race, where the only two candidates to make it to the general election in November were both from the Democratic Party.
Right.
And so
exactly.
So as little guys, as kind of fringe guys with these third parties, we really don't. There's no incentive for us to really participate when it comes to the November elections, whether it's. So yeah, I don't understand how they got through, other than the Democratic machine here in California just strong arming the whole system.
That's precisely how it came about. I mean, they've tried several times before, decades before. Election cycles are every 4 years, people. Every 2 years, it seems, for every presidential election, but every other 2 years for the midterm. So there's an election every 2 years. but the gubernatorial race for governor and state races are every 4 years. And they've been pushing this agenda now for, like I said, decades. So this last time they were able to push it through, and it's sad they call it an open primary law when really it closes it. And as you pointed out, we saw an example of that in the last Senate race here in California, where we were stuck to choose between two Democratic candidates. Now, even if you're Republican or independent-minded person alike, or libertarian, whatever the case may be, you were, again, forced to choose between these two senators that will now represent everyone in the state. I deplore the thought of having Kamala Harris as becoming a presidential nominee, and that's actually what she's seeking. And it's sad again that we the people get robbed true representation and am forced between having to choose between two candidates. So it's a possibility that same rigging of the system can happen with our governor's race this year, because the top two candidates for the Democratic race so far, the leading candidates, are both Democrats. So we have Antonio Villaraigosa on one side, the ex-mayor of Los Angeles, and Gavin Newsom, the current lieutenant governor, who used to be the mayor of San Francisco. And both of them are Democrats. Both of them have contributed to the homeless problem in this country and in this state. Both of them added to the loss of monetary power in the state of California. So it's sad that we all may be forced to choose between those two come November. So that's why it's extremely imperative that everybody out there watching this podcast and live in the state of California, be sure to vote in the June 5th primary. It is extremely important. Just vote for the other guy, okay? Right. I don't think it's going to happen to where we're going to have a Republican candidate be able to rival one of those two contenders just because of their popularity. On the Republican side, you have more extreme right zealots promoting that agenda. So it's safe to say that they pretty much won't be able to win over the public. So I definitely believe that this would be an opportunity for the libertarians to come along and still an election. All we have to do is win over the hearts and minds of the people of California and excite them to want to vote libertarian. And I believe that I would be a great spokesman for that, with my background and with me being a relatable candidate and a representative of the average American and middle class income earner, the hard workers of the state. So I would love to have the opportunity to again, but first I got to pay that ballot fee so I can have a chance.
And that's due on the 7th, right, of this month?
Yes, it is.
Oh, man,
yes, March 7th.
That's around the corner. So those who are listening out there, if you have any money to give to this guy, please do so, because we need him.
Yes.
We need a representative of liberty on this ballot, because it's not looking pretty good right now. I don't even know who the Republicans have.
Exactly. See, a lot of people don't. Even when I was out there petitioning, for signatures in lieu of paying that $4,000 fee, I had to collect 10,000 signatures. So my wife and I were out there canvassing ourselves and collecting these signatures. And along the way, I'm introducing myself to people. And they're like, wow, I never heard of you. I'm like, well, do you know of any of the people running for California governor? And the majority of them did not. So it's sad that will definitely end up being the reality of the matter, but I would like to change that. So I'm asking everybody to get involved. I am crowdsourcing for funding through the website crowdpack.com. It's basically like a Kickstarter crowdfunding website for political issues. So candidates can also set up a crowd pack. So if you go on there, crowdpack.com, enter in Nickolas Wildstar, you will find me. I'm the one and only. And again, please be sure to donate whatever you can.
Great. So let's just your campaign. Your more of your platform. What are some just give us a quick summary of your platform, if you haven't done so already.
Absolutely. Well, the first thing I would like to do is reform our tax code and get rid of a lot of these regressive, arbitrary taxes that are being imposed on we the people. We're just being taxed without representation, and that is definitely apparent with the new gas tax that was passed, which increases the taxes that people pay in the state of California up to nearly $1 that we're paying per gallon in taxes. So I would like to have an opportunity to repeal that, as well as reduce the income tax in the state of California, which is currently 13% of people's income, down to 0%. We have large states in this union, such as Texas and Florida, et cetera, that do not tax their residents for their income. I would love for California to follow suit and be able to give the people back their money and let them be able to pick and choose what they spend their money on. And that's another one of the things that I would like to do, is get rid of a lot of the regulations that are preventing businesses that would love to have an opportunity to expand and grow and create more jobs for the people of California, but are being denied the opportunity to do so, such as with the new passage of the recreational marijuana law. In order for businesses to actually get up and running and start up, they have to be able to have enough capital to pay the licensure and pay for the licensure and fees in order to get started. And these are thousands of dollars. Even independent farmers are being charged thousands of dollars for fees for being able to grow. So it's preventative policies that are being passed that are preventing all of us from being able to have the opportunity to prosper. So I, again, would love to have an opportunity to do so as governor and get rid of all of the politicians and state representatives that fail to uphold their oath to protect the people of the state of California by upholding their oath of the United States Constitution. So as a representative of the people and being the executive member of this state, I would make sure that every state representative is upholding their oath and or will be removed from that position. That's what has been lost. There is no accountability anymore with police officers, with state officials, whether it be a politician or a teacher or a judge in court or a district attorney. They're not being held accountable, and pretty much everything is being run amok because of it. So there needs to be some accountability, some transparency, so the people of California know where their money is going. So I would also perform a full-scale audit of the state's finances immediately once I become governor. And I definitely believe that needs to be done, especially with certain things like you see President Janet Napolitano squandering away over $200 million in taxpayers' money. So instead of that going towards our children and, you know, people in college that want to expand their education, it's going towards the ether of public funds. And I definitely, again, would like to have an opportunity to get government back on track, prevent those levels of corruption from happening from the bottom up.
Great. That sounds great. I mean, anything that lowers taxes and makes people more accountable in public service, I'm all for that. And I think that's one of the essential pillars of liberty, is to have people who are accountable to the people, and to and to not tax us to death, especially the middle class. And from what from how I feel is, if you're in the lower tax brackets, it's a burden, but you get some of that burden back. If you're rich, then you can afford attorneys and CPAs to find every write-off and deduction that you can. So if you're in the middle class, you can't get that money back, and you can't hire the people to, find the loopholes for you. So you're stuck with the bill, essentially.
Right.
Yeah. So
Exactly. And it's sad that um, I would say the Democratic Socialists of America have promoted this agenda to where they feel like we can just tax the rich people of our country and that'll fix everything. It won't. And the thing is if we got rid of taxing, forceful taxation, mandatory taxation of the people, whether it be low income earners, middle income earners, or high income earners, they'd be more inclined to actually want to donate, want to contribute to the society. So I don't think there should be any taxation of anyone's income, especially if they're working hard to make that money, whether it be $100,000 paycheck, $1,000 paycheck, or $1 million paycheck. And I definitely think that the people of a higher income that have businesses of their own could appreciate that, especially when they're being taxed twice, not only as an individual, but then again as a business. Yeah. So where does that leave those businesses that are barely making it, those small businesses and mom and pop shops that the supposed candidates and politicians seem to care about? Yeah. It's big business versus small business. We just got to face the facts of the matter. It's big money versus little money here. And the 99% of us are little money. Okay, yeah, it's only 1% of us that actually fall in that category to where money is obscene to beyond. Look at what happened with Bill Gates. He was on Ellen DeGeneres show being asked questions of how much are just regular household items. And he didn't get one of them right. And you know why? Because he doesn't buy those things. He doesn't buy tissue. He doesn't buy toilet paper. He doesn't buy, Hot Pockets or, stuff like that. Yeah. He doesn't buy stuff like that for himself. And right. The elite don't. They don't know how much we, the people, spend on day-to-day things. So someone such as myself, who is completely aware of that because I am one of those people, would be more fitted to actually be able to relate to those issues and prevent the policies that have kept them from being able to grow.
Great. Yeah, it's all good stuff. I don't think Bill Gates remember what a Hot Pocket was since Microsoft went public, so...
Right. You got to see it. It's comedy because he's like $20 and the audience is like, oh my God, that's like $1, man. What are you doing?
I'll have to look it up. So getting back to the campaign or your campaign, like we said, California is now an open primary, which means you're not the only libertarian running for governor here in California.
No.
And your comadre, we'll just call him that, is Zoltan Istan. And I have to actually tell you this story. I actually met him at a conference one time. It was about a year ago. It was a libertarian conference in, I believe, the Santa Fe Springs area. And we even sat at the same table. I didn't even know who he was. It was before he announced that he was running for governor. And I just sat at the table with this guy. He was actually pretty quiet, but he hasn't been as quiet towards you from what I understand. So just what are the differences between Nickolas Wildstar and Zoltan István, who's also running as a libertarian?
Well, first and foremost, I believe it would be a respect for the philosophy of libertarianism. I tend to have that at the heart and core of my desires for wanting to run for office, opposed to where Zoltan is a transhumanist, and his ideas and philosophy revolves around transhumanism. So I leave it up to the people out there to do their own due diligence and find out more about Mr. István. But the distinct difference is that I would love to have an opportunity to rid the people of taxation, to where that's being opposed by him. I would love to have an opportunity to alleviate the amount of government control on people's lives whether it be with regards to taxes or arbitrary laws such as licensure issuance that prevents people from being able to own property and respect for their property rights. Mr. Isvan does not. So these are key differences between him and I when it comes to representing the Libertarian Party and the idea of liberty. So I would say I'm definitely more in alignment with what the people of California would like to have as a representative of the people. Especially since, like you pointed out, he has been very vocal in speaking against my candidacy simply because he does see me as being a great competitor. I've been the front runner of the Libertarian Party since I've announced my candidacy, and that's mainly because I've been able to communicate the message of liberty to the public and be able to relate to the message of liberty with the Libertarian Party. I've been touring around the state pretty much, going around driving from county to county, from NorCal to SoCal, meeting libertarians throughout the state and people throughout the state, and have gained 5 endorsements so far, from Santa Clara to San Joaquin County to San Bernardino. And these are libertarian affiliates of the state party that have backed me. And I've had several members of the Libertarian Party, very notable and respectable members of the Libertarian Party, not only on the state level, but on the national level, even speak highly of me, such as Larry Sharp and Starchild. Yeah. So he's pretty much seen me as being someone as, I don't know, being not credible or not having the experience needed in order to govern the state of California, although he himself has never had any public representative position. And when he ran for president of the United States in the 2016 election, had no experience prior to that to running for any office, to where I ran at least in 2014 to govern the state of California. So my focus is more so on representing the people of this state, to where he's already stated publicly that he doesn't believe that he's going to win the election, number one. But number two, that he would like to run as a libertarian presidential candidate in 2020. So he's more so just using this as an opportunity to gain more notoriety for his aspirations, his political aspirations, and to become more of a spokesman of transhumanism, to where I would love to become more of a spokesman of the people of the state of California.
So you're actually running for the position that you're running for. Yeah, it's
exactly.
You're not using. And
I'm also seeking nomination of the Libertarian Party of California, opposed to where he is not. The convention is going to be in April, to where all of the delegates in the Libertarian Party will choose who they want to represent the party. He doesn't care about that. He said he doesn't want it, but yet he'll be there to debate me. And I would love to have an opportunity to be there, but first I must qualify as a candidate, and that's being able to pay that filing fee. And he's spoken about me having the lack of funds, to where he has millions. He's a self-made millionaire, and pretty much will be funding his own campaign. And I feel like any person that has enough money, especially those that are well off, they are more not representative of the majority of the people. How many of us actually have $1 million in a bank account? Or, like you pointed out, $5,000 to just pay or throw away on a filing fee. Even though I may not even get the job, I don't get that money back. You know, I have bills to pay. My wife and I, we would love to have an opportunity to travel more, just between the two of I, and, you know, vacation and just enjoy our lives. But yet, we again are having to sacrifice a certain amount of our own personal liberties for the sake of wanting to protect and respect the liberties of all of the people of California. So Again, it's up to us to get involved. So I encourage you all to definitely find out more about the Libertarian candidates running for office.
Definitely. And if I'm going to go a little off of our agenda real quick and just kind of ask, like, there seems to be a little riff in the Libertarian Party, between like the hardcore old school libertarians from like the 70s and 80s who are like, here's a laundry list of what it is to be a libertarian. If you don't meet this laundry list, then you're just a poser, as opposed to people who are using the Libertarian Party as a, like you said, like political aspirations or as a platform to something bigger. Just kind of like in your mind, because to me, as long as you are a champion of liberty, I mean, you don't have to mark the checklist off 100% to be a libertarian. What do you think about that? Like, kind of that.
I completely agree. It seems as if there's a litmus test in the Libertarian Party to kind of find out where on this meter are you a libertarian.
Right.
Have you read Rothbard? Have you read Mises? Do you love Ron Paul? And the further up that libertarian scale you get, the more acceptable the libertarians will be.
Right.
Opposed to standing on that principle of acceptance of every individual. That is why I feel like people like Zoltan and transhumanists can be invited into the Libertarian Party, or people of the alt-right that support supremacist ideals and, nationalism, white nationalism, call themselves libertarians and be accepted as well. And it's sad that the identity of libertarian that is still kind of being fought for, but its spirit is what's at cost here. So we really need to dig deep to find out what is that. And I feel like there's a lot of old school libertarians that are more embracing of the libertarians of today, because they see us as kind of being those ones that are seeking to be anti-establishment and minimize government, and are embracing the idea of taxation being theft, especially when it's being forcefully taken from us instead of voluntarily. We're starting to realize that, the younger generation. So the message kind of gets construed when those representatives of libertarianism get propped up and kind of waters down that message and loses its appeal. I don't think that there would be many people that would be enticed to hearing the message of liberty were Zoltan to become a proponent of it. It would get construed somewhere. There's other individuals that would as well. So I think it's up to active libertarians, people like you and I, to kind of, again, get involved with promoting and supporting those libertarians that we feel like actually represent that. So even if I'm unable to get on the bill as a libertarian candidate, I would love to help support those libertarian candidates that are still running, whether it be for state assembly, any type of local office such as superintendent, supervisor, etc. So I'll be pretty much standing behind those candidates. I've yet to determine who that libertarian candidate for governor may be, or any candidate for governor. I may end up supporting a Green Party candidate, depending on, how I feel. But I, again, would like for any representative of me to be more in alignment and be a representative of those ideals that I would like to have stood for.
Great. And while we're talking about policies and positions, this is a very sensitive subject right now, and that's the subject of gun control. I know you've spoken about it not too long ago with some guys from YAL, if I'm not mistaken, and just kind of what's your philosophy of this, of this topic, because it's a hot but every time a crisis happens, this becomes a hot button item, front and center, and libertarians tend to be very pro Second Amendment, and so I just would love for you to speak into that.
Indeed. Well, I believe that we all should have our right to protect ourselves, be respected and protected by our government, opposed to have it be abridged, have it be infringed, and be threatened constantly. That tends to be what they seek every time there happens to be any type of isolated incident involving guns. These are isolated incidents, and it's not something that runs rampant every day. I mean, I don't walk down the street seeing just people, like this is the wild, wild west. It's not happening like that, but yet that's what's being propagated through media. So I believe the majority of people, since these are individuals that know the psychosis of human interaction, they know how humans respond, and our fight or flight mechanisms kick in first. So the minute we hear fear in our ear, we, become responsive, and we immediately want to protect ourselves. So it's sad that there's politicians and there's people out there that would like to see the disarmament of the people of America and are attacking their inherent right, their God-given right to protect themselves. The Second Amendment does not grant you the right to bear arms. The Second Amendment is a respect for your right to bear arms. Right. If it wasn't there, it doesn't take away you being able to protect yourself, and it should not. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. It's sad again that this tends to be what politicians and legislators continue to propose when there happens to be an issue of gun violence, when really, again, they need to be upholding their oath.
Yeah, I just find it interesting because, here in California, I think we probably have some of the toughest gun laws outside of obviously the city of Chicago probably has some of the toughest gun control of any local government. But I think as a state, we have some of the most stringent state laws for guns.
Ridiculous.
For example, I was looking at, assault rifles the other day, and our assault rifles look different in California than they do in the rest of the country because we have to break ours apart and we can't, put our hand around the grip. There's just all these modifications.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems to be the only issue where they want to punish everyone for the actions of the few.
Exactly. And these are legal gun owners. It isn't criminals that's going to be harmed by these changes of law. These are going to be law-abiding, respectful, peaceful citizens of the public. And it's sad, again, that they end up become the victims of these bad policies opposed to the criminals that they're supposed to prevent from happening. You're still going to have criminals be able to get guns and shoot and kill people and harm them. You're still going to have criminals that be able to steal from people, and a lot of them are in government. But if we want to change things, we got to start accepting what we know is true. These policies do not serve us, and they aren't upholding their oath. I support constitutional carry, and that's letting the individual being able to protect themselves according to the Constitution. And the right to bear arms doesn't dictate what type of weapon may be used. And it's sad that a rifle gets the name assault attached to it when there really is no assault. If I just bought it for sport usage or for hobby purposes, am I really assaulting anyone at that point? No. Assault is an action. So any rifle can be used for that. Any shotgun can be used for that. Any knife or bat or any type of anything can be used in an assaultive manner. So we shouldn't think that any type of dictation or restriction of a gun can prevent there from being any violent actions from happening. I mean, we have technology advancements that's happening constantly. And of course, ever since the Second Amendment was created, there were muskets or whatever the case may be. The weapons may have been slower, but the damage was still done. Now we have weapons that shoot faster, but it's a matter of distance. And pretty soon we'll have laser guns that could, do even more damage. We have 3D printed guns right now, which, again, people have access to. So we can't let a small group of people be able to dictate policy for us all and dictate how we all should be able to conduct our lives. And I want to be able to protect myself, my family, and anyone in my community and not have there be any restriction of that whatsoever. Even though I don't support guns, I'm not a gun happy person. And, if you are, more power to you. But I actually, again, feel like there just needs to be more accountability. And it starts first with these representatives upholding their constitutional oath.
Well, and, a lot of people don't realize, too, the Second Amendment wasn't necessarily, they always say it's not to shoot deer. It's not to go hunting. It's to protect us from the government itself. You never know when they're going to get a wild hair and they already are starting to be more and more tyrannical regardless of party.
Oh, yes.
And so we the people need to defend ourselves, and people, it's like I said, it's not only is it something that they wanted to punish those who have nothing to do with these violent acts, but it's a willingness of giving up our rights, not only to defend ourselves from just threats, but government threat as well.
Yes. And they're increasingly becoming authoritative. I mean, there's not much we can do without government threatening us to comply. Right. And a lot of times this has led to the detriment of people, mortal deaths, where if they don't get out of their car, they get shot in the head, or something like that. It's sad that, again, we're giving the power of authority to a small few. We're letting them have all of the guns while we have none. So in the event that any leader come along, whether it be Trump or Obama or any, future leader or whatever the case may be, if they ever become more of a dictator and take on those Hitler-esque type of qualities, we're looking at being completely vulnerable to government control. I mean, look around you. We have police, law enforcement looking more and more militaristic and becoming more of a police state every day. Right. So if we want to have an opportunity to be able to rebel at any point, we need to make sure that our inherent rights are in place and that we, again, have an opportunity to exercise them at any point without any restriction. So we can't start now by letting, again, our passion and desires for or pain turn into desires to want to give up our right to protect ourselves. Because, again, a lot of it boils down to how much money you have. A lot of the people telling us to give up our guns have armed guards, people that they're paying to protect them, and they have weapons. Right. Unless you have money to pay for armed guards in your own home or any case of that matter at your own business, then you're going to be left vulnerable. In our schools, I believe it should be left up to the teachers and the parents of the students to be able to come up with their own type of laws or rules for their school district. So if we allow the parents and the people of the community to come up with a way to resolve their own problems, then there'll be less dictatorial practices on a large government scale. And so starting first here in the state of California with electing me as governor of California, I assured the people of California I would protect your right to protect yourself and would veto any type of legislative laws that came across my desk unless it supported constitutional carry.
Awesome. I appreciate it. let's talk about the campaign trail. Let's shift gears a little bit. How long have you been campaigning now?
Ever since April
wow.
Last year.
So,
actually,
11
more
months?
before that.
Oh, wow.
I ran in 2014.
Right.
And shortly after the election, of course, since I didn't win, a lot of people asked me what was next. And I let them know at that time I planned on running in 2018. And it's sad that it kind of didn't pick up steam and people didn't start paying attention into the last year or so. But hey, better late than never. But at this point, we're kind of, doing this last dash to the final here. And I would love to be able to get past the goal line, but I need that last little push, financially in order to be able to make it across the finish here. So, yes, I've been actively campaigning ever since April. I went to the Libertarian Party convention then. I actually was still debating if I was going to run again as an independent or as a libertarian. I was always liberty-minded, but I just didn't want to get involved in a political party. They still seemed a bit weary to me, especially since there were certain bills that were proposed here in the state of California, such as mandatory labeling of products to say if they'd be genetically modified or not. And the Libertarian Party of California did not support that. I personally felt like that definitely should be supported, since I want to be able to know what's in my food. Definitely. And since they didn't want to support it at that time, it kind of turned me off to them. But seeing the presidential candidacy of John McAfee when he was running for the Libertarian Party, he started out with creating his own party. Mm-hmm. But then hearing himself and the message that he was promoting, he saw that it was more in alignment with what the Libertarian platform is built on. So he just saw it as an opportunity to speak on those planks and be able to relate to a bigger audience. And I see myself in the same fashion, as since I am still liberty-minded, would be able to utilize the platform of the Libertarian Party to be able to promote minimizing government and ending mandatory licensure and taxation, etc. So that's why I'm now standing as a libertarian, and am hoping that the people involved and the people hearing this message will want to vote Libertarian too and support my candidacy.
Great. And it's more of a, I don't want to get too personal, but at the same time, you are an average, you're like everyone else. You're like an average guy, and that's actually,
thank you.
Well, and I think that's actually, I think that's actually cool that someone, of the guy who can relate to the people, the general people, has decided to run for such a high office, especially here in the state of California. So what's family life been like, if anyone who's listening to this podcast today wants to run for office someday, what are some things they can expect? What's family life like on the campaign trail? If you can just, give us a little window into that, what's going on in that aspect of life.
Absolutely. Well, I would encourage anyone out there to run for office, please. It is definitely a much needed public service, especially if you consider yourself to be an average American. We don't have many people in office that represent us, the middle class, hard working income earners. And that is what I feel like really is one of the greatest qualities about me as a candidate, and will make me more attractive to the majority of people, because they'll be able to relate to me. We need more broke people in office, people that have struggled with paying the rent, people that have lived paycheck to paycheck, people that have dealt with being homeless, people that have dealt with mental health issues and that have been to jail, because the representatives that we're putting into office supposedly care about those issues and want to do something to change them. Yet once they get elected, they don't. And the reason is because they've never been there. They don't really have an understanding of how dire it is for those issues to actually be changed immediately. So I myself see those as being pluses and benefits to any candidate, even myself. So if you have experienced any of that, definitely, again, run. Now, what to expect is a lot of hardship. You definitely got to be thick-skinned to run as a candidate. You're going to hear people speak highly of you, but you're also going to hear people speak very lowly of you as well. And you have to be able to take it in stride. You have to be able to continue to smile and be personable and respect people and not get offended by much of what you're going to hear. I'm a black man. I have hair that looks like this. You know, I have facial hair. I'm not all clean and cut. And I hear comments about that all the time, you know. It's sad, but it's true. And when it comes to your family involvement, you know, we have those supportive family members that get behind us 100%. And then no matter what it may be, you know, and then we have those that don't. So we just have to really be honest with ourselves, with our expectations and what it is that we desire from those around us. And even myself, I'm a married man, you know, and it's been difficult being married and running for office, because instead of me being attentive to my wife and her needs and, you know, spending time with her, I'm spending time with you, you know, and everyone else in the state. And she has to give me up to pretty much, again, allow me to be able to interact with the people that I hope to represent. And I'm not a laborer. You know, I'm not out there working, swinging a hammer or a jackhammer or something like that in the field, picking cotton and all of that stuff, because we do have cotton pickers here in the state of California. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. So, but I'm an office man. You know, I like sitting in a comfortable environment where it's air conditioned and, you know, I can relax, and which is why I'm seeking a public representative position. So, you know, it's really a matter of, again, knowing what you want and not expecting for people around you to get on board with it, because it is going to take a matter of motivation, not only on your end, but on their end as well. So you have to be able to inspire them by being inspired yourself. And you just can't take it all to heart, and definitely just continue to stay vigilant, stay adamant, and keep moving forward no matter how grim it looks. I am running for governor, and a lot of people make it seem like it's a long shot, but I'm one of those people that love rooting for the underdog and love to hear a great Cinderella story. And a lot of people out there feel exactly the same way. So I feel like by me running, I could possibly end up being that dark horse candidate, that one that is not seen or heard of, but ends up becoming very well known and or possibly winning the election. So it takes a matter of, again, a positive mindset and money. I'm not going to lie with you. Money. It does take money. Yeah. And you can get out there, you know, giving your stump speeches and sound all good and great. You can talk to as many people as you like about the issues and beat them all down and, you know, have them ask you what's your favorite color and, you know, what's your favorite music, and learn all of this information about you. But it'll all be for naught if you don't get on the ballot, if you don't actually have an opportunity to represent those people that you're connecting with. And I'm facing that dynamic here myself with my own election, you know, as many people as I've connected with throughout the state, and Libertarian Party members, and just voters of the state of California. It's, again, coming down to the wire, where I'll be robbed the opportunity for being able to represent the people, and the people of California will be robbed the opportunity of voting Libertarian and supporting me as governor if I don't pay that $4,000 filing fee. So make sure you have your ducks in order financially first and foremost, or else you're going to face an even harder uphill battle.
Definitely. Well, we're going to close out, but I just want any final thoughts that you have. I'm giving you an open platform right here, right now, just to say whatever you need to say to close us out.
Well, thank you very much. And thank you so much again for having me, Justin, and giving me such an opportunity to speak with the public, all of your audience members, and being able to ramble myself. I just want to let everybody out there know that it does take people like us to get involved on every level. I am running a grassroots campaign, and word of mouth is a tremendous promotional tool. So please tell everyone that you can about my campaign. Share this video. Share any articles that you can find about me, and just speak more about me wherever you may be, whether it be out in public, on social media, etc. Just talk about me. And of course, any contribution is greatly appreciated. So if you'd like to get involved as a volunteer, I am in need of people to assist me with helping spread the word as a staffer. Of course, I don't have the capital to pay you, so if you want to volunteer your time and donate your time, I would greatly appreciate it. And for those people out there that may have a little money set to the side and would like to contribute right now, like I said, I am trying to get that $4,000 before March 7th. So if you have $20, $200, $2,000, whatever the case may be, please send it because I need it. So please, again, visit my website, wildstar2018.com.
Yes,
What'd you say?
I said maybe that $3,000 that you need.
Hey, yes, exactly. If you have that, hey, give me that. Nip it in the bud. I won't be doing any more of these videos asking for people for money. Because honestly, the majority of donations that I've been receiving, they've been enough to sustain me to where I've been able to do a lot with a little bit. I've been able to, like I said, travel throughout the state, meet with people from Northern California to Southern California. I've been able to get signs, lawn signs like these. I have bumper stickers. I've been able to do email promotions, and soon I'll even have a commercial running up in El Dorado County.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, on the new channel. News channels there and local stations. So it's just, again, a great way for me to reach more people, because that's where the money is going. It's just giving me an opportunity as a candidate to be able to afford those expenses that come with campaigning and running a successful campaign. And I don't need the tens of millions of dollars that the Republicans have and the Democrats have to throw away on their elections, because they will be throwing away that money.
Yeah.
Win or lose, especially if they lose, though.
Yeah.
But all of the money that you're sending to those candidates is being wastefully spent. And for the people here in California, it is, again, imperative that we act in this June primary, because look at the state of California. It's just been reported that we have the most impoverished state in the whole union. Okay, we spend the most on helping those in need, but yet we have a tremendous homeless problem that's increasingly growing. Los Angeles, tons of people on Skid Row. Here in Orange County, we have tons of people along the riverbed, which were now displaced and are scattered about throughout Santa Ana, Anaheim, etc., and San Diego, and San Francisco, and Oakland. So we have a growing homeless problem, and that's because the rent is too damn high. You know, let's just be honest.
Yeah.
And it's chasing away a lot of homeowners. It's chasing away a lot of middle income earners that would like to have an opportunity to live here in this state and pursue their dreams, such as myself and my wife. We would love to have an opportunity to stay here and fight for the people of California. So please just give us the chance to get into Sacramento and represent the people of California. And it starts first with you, and you just need to get involved, and just remember again to vote Libertarian and support Wildstar for governor in 2018.
Well, That's it, man. Wildstar for Governor 2018. Nickolas, thank you so much for joining me. Just a little disclaimer: Nickolas has agreed to has consented for this recording, so
sure have.
yeah, a little like I told him, a little CYA, that never hurt anybody. So, but thank you. We really appreciate you taking time out of your campaign. I know you're a very busy man, and I really appreciate this, and I really appreciate you fighting for liberty and giving us a voice. And I wish you the best of luck. And we'll get this up and get this podcast up as soon as we can, so people can hear the message. How about that?
All right, great. Please do, yes, because they need to hear it now. And again, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate you giving me the chance to be heard. And again, bless you on your pursuit to expand the message of liberty, because we need more people to do that. And just continue to ask yourself, what are you doing out there to help the liberty movement? Because people like Justin is doing a lot. People like myself are doing a lot, and we're pouring our heart and our soul into this, because we not only want a better future for ourselves, but for generations to come. So if you're inspired by that notion and have that incentive to want to better the lives of those people around you and yourself, please definitely get involved in the cause and continue to fight the power.
Great. Thank you so much, Nickolas.
Thank you. God bless you, my man. And peace and blessings to everyone out there. Much love to you all.
All right. Right now, I'll be posting the sound file and script on my blog. Check it out at justin-ski.blogspot.com. I hope to hear from you, and God bless.